What's it like to be a criminal lawyer? A day in the life of a criminal attorney. Hi, I'm Jeff Hampton. I'm a criminal defense attorney, and I actually am the owner and the managing partner of the Hampton law firm. I'm going to do a video a little different than I normally do. I have had literally thousands of people ask me, what's it like to be a criminal attorney? What are some of the best parts of your job? What are some of the worst parts of your job? What are some of the attributes that you think are good for someone to be a good criminal attorney? And what should I be doing? I get a lot of college students, high school students, and then even law school students asking me, what things should I be doing in order to prepare to be a criminal attorney? And then the last question that everyone asks me is it worth it? So I'm going to go over a few of those points here today. And just to give you this is a little bit different type of video, but I think it'll give you a little bit of insight. I've been doing criminal defense now for about 11 years. I was a prosecutor for 5.5 years at the district attorney's office in Tarrant County. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on this to give you an idea. So let's jump into it. Number one, the best parts of being a criminal attorney. Now I'm going to just tell you the best part of being a criminal lawyer is you get to help people. And that is a wonderful thing to be able to do. You are representing the underdog. So at that point, someone comes to you, the state's already labeled them as an accused. They've already determined they think somebody's done something wrong, regardless of the presumption of innocence. The presumption of innocence doesn't really exist in our legal system like it was designed to. The state of Texas or any government within, any state government within the United States has a tendency to already label someone. The moment that they're arrested, they're presumed to just be guilty instead of innocent. And it's wrong. The presumption of innocence is supposed to actually be, you're supposed to be cloaked with that. And unless the state of Texas or whatever jurisdiction you're in can prove beyond a reasonable doubt otherwise, they should always treat you that way, but it doesn't always work that way. So it's great to help people. It's great to be able to go and see someone that was innocent be freed and to see someone be exonerated and get their name cleared. The second point, and I just kind of led into that, is I love after I help somebody get their case dismissed, there's nothing better than to help somebody clear their criminal record. And it's amazing to be able to see that, people don't understand the stigma of having a conviction on your record or even an arrest. If you have an arrest on your record, employers are going to label you that way too. They're going to just it's hard to get a job. It's hard to be able to advance and do things in your life. So one of the most rewarding things to be able to do is to help clear somebody's criminal record. And then thirdly, it's just wonderful to be able to take one of the things at law school, there was just a lot of things that were hypotheticals. You would take hypothetical sets of facts and apply it to a fictional law. But it's wonderful to take a complex set of facts, simplify it, and then prepare a persuasive and winning argument. And so it's wonderful to be able to do that and see the look on your client's face whenever you see that you've helped them move on and get this behind them and move on with their life. And then I will tell you, any good trial attorney would tell you one of the other great things about being a criminal attorney is to win. Nothing better than to win in trial. To go and to know you gave it your all, you laid it out on the court, as they say, and the jury comes back and says, yeah, absolutely. Because I'm going to tell you, a jury trial is a popularity contest. A jury trial, they are measuring the attorney and their credibility as much as anything else. So it's wonderful to be able to win in trial. Okay, so those are some of the positives. What are some of the worst parts of being a criminal attorney? Well, first of all, it's pretty rough to deal with the state and their arbitrary policies. In almost any state that is particularly because, and I'm going to just talk about the state of Texas, district attorneys are going to be elected, and when they're elected, they have a political stance, and they're also interested in being reelected. And so one of the things that you'll find is there's certain arbitrary policies that exist. For example of that, the state of Texas became the first state in the entire country to pass a law that makes solicitation of prostitution a felony. In fact, solicitation of prostitution is not even a crime in some states, but here in Texas, it's a felony. And so I'm just going to tell you, some of the district attorney's offices in Texas created an arbitrary policy that says even if it's your first time offense, you've never been in trouble in your entire life, you've never done anything wrong, there was no real victim in the situation because it was just solicitation, that it's a mandatory prison offer. And when you're dealing with a state that is coming up with arbitrary policies for political reasons, and it's frustrating. And so that's one of the worst parts, is trying to explain to a client, we're not going to bend to their policy because it's arbitrary, but you do still have to deal with it because it's a very political aspect to why the state of Texas and other states make certain offers on cases. But let me just say this. The other thing is to deal, one of the other negative parts, one of the worst parts, is dealing with the resources of the state when they are driven to convict. Whenever they've decided they're 100%, they want to win, and it's not always just about reasonable doubt, then they will marshal all of the resources they can. Child Protective Services, Department of Public Safety. They will take, they've got multiple investigators. They've got departments and other places where the state, it's all funded by taxpayer dollars. So they've got all the resources in the world to be able to marshal that against a person who's accused. That's frustrating. Okay, they know that they have deeper pockets than the person who's being wrongfully accused. And then I'll tell you this, the other worst part is handling detectives and investigators that do not care about the presumption of innocence. I've actually had conversations with detectives and investigators who have basically told me, I know your client did it. I don't have enough evidence yet, but I know he did it and I'll get there. Or I'm trying to come up with this, or I'm just going to go ahead and arrest him. I get it. There may be some doubt. There may be, you gave me a statement that maybe creates some doubt, but I'm going to let the DA sort it out. Sometimes when those sort of things come about, that's frustrating because instead of just looking at it for the way it is, sometimes dealing with the other side, I can't always make them do their job before there's a case. So those are some of the worst parts. Now, next point out, people ask me, what are some of the attributes to being a great criminal lawyer? First of all, you need to be a people person. Okay, if you're not a people person, if you don't like dealing with people, then you're not going to like being a criminal lawyer. And that just kind of speaks for itself. It's very hands-on, the activity you do as a criminal attorney. Number two, you need to be an active listener. There are far too many attorneys that I have seen that aren't really listening to what their client is saying. They just tell the client the way it's going to be, and that's the way it is, and then they don't even really get to hear the other side. And it's so very important to be a good criminal attorney. You need to be an active listener. Care about what your client is saying. Make sure that you're taking in what they're saying and making that a part of the defense. Number three, being a good criminal lawyer, question everything. Never assume the police reports are accurate. Never assume that what you see on a video is the same from every angle. Never assume that a witness statement is exactly dead on. You know, I always think about that movie, My Cousin Vinny. Just because the witness said she saw it didn't mean she saw it. And I always think about that. You should question everything. The best cross-examiners, the best defense attorneys, question everything, backtrack. They literally do reverse engineering everything to make sure whether or not the information lines up, and that's part of investigating the case. Finally, an attribute for being a good criminal defense attorney is don't bend under pressure. And I'll just tell you, sometimes you're standing up in court. You'll object to things. The judge may give you a bad look. The judge may say certain things. Remember, whether it's a judge or a prosecutor or whatever else is going on, that jury is looking at you to see. A good criminal defense attorney, they're not shaken by things that the judge says. They're not shaken by they are bulldogs that are out for a mission to make sure that their client is being represented the right way. So you don't want to bend under pressure. So these are just a few of the things that you could bring up about attributes for being a great criminal defense attorney. And finally, what should you do if you want to become a criminal lawyer? What are some things to do? Now, I could tell you to go do all these other things, go major in pre-law. No, listen, I didn't major in pre-law. In fact, initially, I majored in music and then business. So majoring in pre-law means nothing, all right? So I'm going to tell you one thing. If you want to be a criminal lawyer, go watch a criminal jury trial. Go to your local courthouse. It's open to the public. Go watch a DWI trial. Go watch a murder trial. See what really goes on. You're going to see that it's not like Law and Order, okay? You're going to also see it's not like anything that you see on TV. You're going to get a very good picture of what a trial is like and what the attorneys are doing, all right? Then sign up. If you do go to law school, you got to go to law school to become a lawyer. Sign up for mock trial in law school. Get in there. See if you like the actual talking aspect of it and getting up there and arguing. That's one of the second thing I would suggest you do. And then number three, sign up as an intern at a law firm, at a criminal law firm, or at the district attorney's office. You say, well, maybe I don't want to be a prosecutor. It's good to see both sides of it and to understand how the criminal justice system works so that you can gain an appreciation if that's what you want to dedicate your life to doing as a criminal attorney, okay? And then the last question is it worth it? It depends on what you want. So is it worth it to become a criminal attorney? Well, first of all, if you're doing it to get rich, there are many other ways to get rich. Okay? If you think you're just going to get rich doing it, that's probably not the best reason to do it. Maybe you have a desire to help the oppressed and the innocent. If that's the case, you'll have an opportunity to do that as a criminal attorney. So you need to question your motives for why you want to do it. If you like hands-on work and building relationships with people, you're going to have a really good time and you're going to very much enjoy being a criminal attorney. And maybe here's the number one thing I get all the time. Hey, I think I want to be a criminal lawyer because I'm really good at arguing. I can argue with people really well. Well, I just want you to understand, it's not like Law and Order, so it's not like people just stand up and yell at each other and argue over things and then you end up getting a verdict. It's all based upon rules of evidence. There's a lot of reading, there's a lot of reviewing, there's a lot of court relationships that are going on, judge relationships that are going on, and it's not like Lincoln Lawyer either, right? I can name all these movies and shows that people look at and they think about. Because here's what you're spending most of your time doing. You're analyzing evidence, you're sending emails, you're talking with prosecutors and judges. And then when you go to court, you spend a lot of time in court. When you go to court, the thing that people don't tell you at all is you're waiting in long lines to talk to a judge. You're waiting in a long line to talk to the prosecutor. You're trying to deal with people who are not seeing it your way, and the art of negotiating. There's the nuance of having high emotional intelligence and being able to read people and get a feel for where they're at. And then there is some strategy involved, is understanding to bend in that relationship and in that negotiating without it breaking. There's a lot that's involved in the process. So a lot of times people don't realize that's a lot of what we're doing every day. It's hands-on in the courthouse and doing those things. So listen, I wanted to provide this video because I have a lot of people that ask me about it. If you or a loved one are looking for a criminal attorney, if you're in the North Texas area, feel free to give me a call at the Hampton Law Firm. My number is up at the top of the screen right here. We'll be happy to help you. But if not, listen, I hope maybe you're just trying to figure out if this is what you want to do. I hope this provides you some clarity on it, or at least gives you some insight. I've been doing this for a good long time. And I think it's important that you know what you're walking into before you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in law school. All right, thanks again. Watch some of our other videos. If you want to learn more about Texas criminal law, I'll be happy to get you some more information on that. We'll see you next time.